Step into the captivating world of optical illusions. These mesmerizing visuals have likely caught your eye before. But have you ever paused to ponder what's happening in your mind as you observe them? In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating psychology of optical illusions, uncovering how our brains interpret them and what they reveal about the inner workings of our cognitive processes, such as perception, attention, and the brain's clever mental shortcuts. Hello, I'm Alex, and today we're unraveling the psychology behind these intriguing mind tricks. By the end of this video, you'll have a whole new perspective on optical illusions. So, sit back, relax, and let's unravel the mysteries of how our brains work, all through the lens of illusions. To start, what exactly is an optical illusion? At its essence, an optical illusion is a visual phenomenon that tricks our brains into seeing something that isn't entirely accurate. This happens because our brains use mental shortcuts to process visual information efficiently, but these shortcuts can sometimes lead us astray. Illusions play with how we interpret light, depth, color, and motion, revealing just how our perception works. Take the well-known Müller-Lyer illusion, for example. Two lines of identical length appear different because of the direction of the arrows at their ends. Our brains interpret these visual cues based on prior experiences, which sometimes leads to errors in perception. To grasp why these tricks happen, it's important to understand perception itself. Perception involves the brain organizing and interpreting sensory input. Light enters our eyes, and our brain processes these signals to form an image. However, this isn't a simple, linear process. The brain doesn't just analyze raw data. It predicts, fills in gaps, and uses past experiences to make sense of the world around us. Optical illusions take advantage of these predictive processes. One such process is known as top-down processing, where our expectations and prior knowledge influence what we perceive. For instance, if you've learned to expect shadows to behave a certain way, your brain might interpret those shadows differently, even if the visual data doesn't align perfectly with reality. There are three main categories of optical illusions, each showcasing a different way the brain can be tricked: literal illusions, physiological illusions, and cognitive illusions. Let's explore them. Literal illusions present visuals that differ from what is actually there. Take the famous Necker cube, for example. At first glance, it appears to be a 3D cube floating in space. Depending on how your brain processes the lines, you might alternate between seeing it from different perspectives. This simple illusion highlights how our brains flip between interpretations of the same image. Physiological illusions occur when specific areas of the visual system are overstimulated. A classic example is the afterimage effect. Staring at a bright image or light and then looking away often leaves a lingering image in contrasting colors. This happens because the photoreceptor cells in your eyes become temporarily fatigued. Cognitive illusions are the most complex because they tap into how we interpret and reason about the world. The impossible triangle, for instance, tricks our brain into perceiving an object that defies logic. Though the lines and angles seem to create a 3D shape, the brain's interpretation of it as a coherent object is impossible in reality. As we examine these types of illusions, it's clear that perception and attention are deeply intertwined. Our brains constantly filter and prioritize visual information, deciding what to focus on. Optical illusions take advantage of this focus, steering our attention in surprising ways. Consider the famous rotating dancer illusion. Depending on your focus, the dancer can appear to spin in different directions, even though the image itself remains the same. This illustrates how our brains interpret movement and depth based on contextual cues and assumptions about light and motion. These phenomena occur because our brains rely on heuristics, mental shortcuts that allow us to process the world efficiently. These shortcuts are usually effective, but they can sometimes lead us astray. For example, in the duck-rabbit illusion, a single image can represent either a duck or a rabbit. Once our brain commits to one interpretation, it becomes challenging to see the alternative. This reveals how our minds prioritize certain patterns over others. These shortcuts are vital for quick decision-making in everyday life, but they also explain why we fall for illusions. The brain's attempt to simplify and interpret visual information can lead to fascinating distortions. Ultimately, optical illusions teach us that our perception is not a perfect reflection of reality. Instead, it's a highly complex interpretive process influenced by past experiences, context, and mental shortcuts. By studying illusions, we gain a deeper understanding of the mechanisms behind perception and attention. Now let's put your observation skills to the test with a fun interactive challenge. Take a look at this image. Do the horizontal lines appear to be the same length, or do they look different? Pause the video, examine it closely, and share your answers in the comments below. Remember, these illusions are not just entertaining tricks. They provide a window into how our minds perceive the world. I hope you enjoyed this exploration of the fascinating world of optical illusions. If you'd like to dive deeper into topics like this, or explore more about the workings of the brain, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Have you ever been fooled by an optical illusion? Share your stories in the comments. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep challenging what you think you see.